finally happened. We saw the cyberspace levels, which I'm so excited to go over, as they reaffirm my idea that this game is going to be possibly the best 3D Sonic game to date. We also got a glimpse of the Ghost Girl Sage, who I've got a ton of info on from SEGA PR, and no, not Puerto Rico. And they also gave us the entire story.
Wow.
So this is a very exciting time for Sonic Frontiers info, and I have a feeling we're about to get a lot more very, very soon. They showed a new short trailer at the Nintendo Direct, and we'll play my reaction to that before we get to the breakdown. And everyone was clowning on me for thinking they would show the cyberspace levels at the Direct, but it made perfect sense.
Yes!
One, because reputable gaming insiders said it would be there.
29th, yeah. June 29th, Nintendo Direct. It's not technically a leak because Nintendo didn't tell me, which is how I make that call. But it's also, I'm not leaking anything that's in it, which is what I think it is.
And I'm referring to Alana Pierce, who has a super long reputation in the games and media world. So just trust them.
Oh, trust me.
Also too, and the most interesting for us, but the embargo on the full demo and impressions ends tomorrow. And if your brain is at least 30% functioning, you probably put together that it's a day early. So either it gives them time so it doesn't drop before the Direct that day, or, and this is the more fun outcome, but a full cyberspace and story reveal drops tomorrow, either from Sonic Official themselves or IGN. But we have to go over everything that was shown because they were all super small glimpses that I guarantee almost all of you missed at least one or two major things from the teaser. Also, SEGA PR, again not Puerto Rico, went out afterwards and talked about the Ghost Girl and a lot about the new gameplay modes, with an action mode and a speed mode, which again, I'll go more in depth into after. There's also going to be a variety of different accessibility options and difficulty adjusters, which will help people that find memorizing fighting combos tedious and annoying, as well as allow this game to be harder and more unforgiving for gamers. And the babies can go play their stupid little baby mode. This really does look like it's going to be the best 3D Sonic game ever, if Sonic Team can really pull through and nail the final release of the game. And as you can tell from how much I've already said, there is a ton to cover, because I didn't even say it all. It's broken down into chapters so your ADHD-riddled brain doesn't get bored, and there's literally no filler here. Like, I'm actually overwhelmed with the amount of news. So let's do the reaction and go over everything afterwards. And this is definitely going to be a big old video. So why not drop a like for Papa Raccoon, as I'm going to be putting my whole back into getting this one out fast. Double check you're subbed, because I've heard rival Sonic tubers are breaking into the YouTube mainframe to unsubscribe you from my channel. So it's imperative that you double check. And while you're down there, you might as well start flicking that bell. Go ahead, turn it on. Now that I'm done shilling, let's get to the alternate universe Jaden's reaction. Go!
Spin dash
Yes,
into a
it's
new
here.
zone.
Okay.
Sonic's latest action adventure kicks off on the vibrant Starfall Islands, home to a mysterious civilization. Here, you can freely dash through a vast open zone,
I hope there's new
taking full
gameplay here.
advantage of Sonic's speedy skills.
Okay, all
Lock
this
on
looks,
and attack enemies standing in your way.
Oh,
Chain
the
together attacks
soundtrack.
to trigger combos and
It
rack up
goes
damage.
so hard. What the heck?
With good timing,
I don't know
you
if there's
can
new
even
gameplay
deflect
though.
enemy attacks.
It
Acquire
all
skills
looks
to
about the
bolster
same.
Sonic's arsenal of moves. You can also enter a
Oh,
special
this is
zone called Cyberspace.
Wait, it's actually called
Take on
Cyberspace?
challenges at
The
supersonic
leak
speeds
was right again?
and grab keys
Oh,
to progress.
Green Hill Zone. Oh. Everyone's gonna be really happy about that. That's everyone's favorite Sonic stage.
What awaits Sonic
Oh,
on
is
these
there a new
strange
cutscene?
islands?
Oh, no, that's it.
Sonic
That's it.
Frontiers
Still cool.
dashes onto Nintendo Switch this holiday.
Before we get into the story or anything else, we have to talk about the cyberspace levels. Yes, they really are called cyberspace levels. Mind blown. This is something even I didn't think would come true, as while it was referenced in the confirmed January 2021 leak that we all know was dropped on a very uneventful day where nothing happened. But I thought the word cyberspace was just the leaker describing how the levels looked but that's really the name. And this is the worst part, but it's actually 2 words. Yep, I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying,
Well, of course. Cyberspace isn't a word.
but that's not important. Let's talk about the levels. We see these boost sections that will be very familiar to any Sonic fan who hasn't been in a 13-year-long coma. No matter what you think of the boost stages, I think this is probably the best way they could add a second gameplay variety into a game like this. Because you know Sonic fans would complain if they added another slow small feature like the puzzles. I think it'll be a fun break from the open world, and I've heard a lot of people saying,
Wow, they're really just copy-pasting Generations levels over here. Look at these guys. So lazy, SMHing my head.
but I'm not so sure. These are definitely the same zones, but I don't think they're gonna have the same layout as previous iterations. And while I can't say that for sure, these seem to have a different focus as just side snippet levels rather than the main focus like they are in those games. Even if some sections are borrowed, which is possible, I'm not jumping to conclusions or sipping the copium. I'm open to all possibilities. However, they will definitely play differently here, which I think will make these actually better than their original incarnations. Granted, way smaller. And we'll get to how Gameinformer describes how they play, but first, I have to address the elephant in the room. I know, people are going to be like,
Oh my god, Green Hill Zone, grr! I can't stand you, Sonic! Why will you never bring back Toxic Caves, huh? Cowards!
but again, this is the iconic Sonic stage. I know us fanboys who consume every little piece of media are sick of Green Hill Zone, but it's the signature stage. It's the very first in Sonic 1. I mean, it could be worse. Imagine if Marble Hill was first. I'd probably be a Bubsy channel in that universe. I know Sonic fans are especially tired of nostalgia bait, but I'd actually say this is the best thing we've gotten in years regarding that. Think about it. Sonic Generations, alright nostalgia. Sonic Mania, nostalgia, but good. Sonic Forces, nostalgia, but bad. Sonic Origins, nostalgia, but the same. Now, this is actually something entirely new, with a side of nostalgia. I think this will prove to be a winning combination, and what really excites me is the mod potential. Gameinformer put out an update alongside this new footage, going a bit more into the demo they played hands-on at Summer Game Fest. And what specifically excites me is they talked about how these cyberspace levels feel, which in my opinion is what matters the most. They write, this particular cyberspace stage didn't offer anything 3D Sonic veterans haven't seen before. Still, Frontiers' improved controls meant that it at least played a bit better than the Hedgehog's recent outings. If nothing else, Cyberspace gives fans pockets of familiarity while providing another diversion in Frontiers' world, which may assuage some fans' concerns about the game's perceived lack of activities. And did you hear it? Frontiers has improved the boost formula, making these levels better than even previous games, where that was the whole point of the game. This excites me so much because I know it'll be another fun activity to break away from the open world circuit.
I want to first say that the demo that I played was the single worst demo that I've ever played of any video game for technical reasons. It also had an NDA, only game that had an NDA, which is a bummer because it means I can't talk about the one thing that I actually liked about it the most. It's a real shame. There's one thing about it that I really, really liked, and that thing is specifically NDA'd, which is such a bummer.
And you might be like,
But Jaden, you said mod potential. What does that have to do with this?
well, if the boost formula feels better than ever with these new controls and game design, these bite-sized levels included in the game could become the whole new basis for fan ports of old levels, entirely new community-created levels, and more. If these really do play better than previous boost titles, the modding community is in for a treat. And I know hardcore modders will probably be like, but Jaden, Daruvu, uwu Daruwu. And while I understand why SEGA puts such a restrictive anti-cheat and anti-piracy software in there, I also get why you guys hate it. Generally, they put it in there for release, as that's the most important time for sales, and then eventually months later, we'll remove it, or a GOG version without DRM will get released. So while there is an issue for modding, it's an issue that will solve itself in a few months. And a lot of you probably have no clue what I'm talking about, so we'll just move past that. There's this one stage we see that I kind of love the aesthetic of. There's these roads literally everywhere, and it all feels like some deep meta commentary on society. If we don't stop, we just keep building roads and we'll eventually start going sideways and looping. We as humans have turned the world into a road planet. It's a little silly, but I mean, they're classic Sonic stages. Now we have to make sense of those stages. Come on, it's allowed to be silly. It's cyberspace, baby. But I have a feeling, I think I know what you guys want me to go into next.
I don't wanna hit it, there's no freaking it. Consider 36 mil, yeah, I'm geeking it.
SEGA's PR also put out the full story on Frontiers, and we've known bits of it, but now we know how the cyberspace levels play into it. It's going to be very mysterious, and I'm so excited to see how serious the tone is. And if Sonic's like, oh well, my friends are gone. Thank God, now I have time to play Jet Set Radio on my Sega Dreamcast. Yeah, cowabunga! I'll read the full story synopsis, cover it, and move on to the details of the new ghost girl in town, Sage. So quote, Sonic's new journey begins when him and his friends, Amy and Tails, head to the Starfall Islands in search of the Chaos Emeralds. As they approach the islands, sudden trouble hits their plane, and they are sucked into a dimensional portal. Sonic then finds himself separated from his friends and awakens in a strange digital world, cyberspace. Spelled in 2 words, even though cyberspace is a real word. He miraculously escapes space, and arrives on Kronos Island, one of the Starfall Islands, full of ancient ruins where strange enemies roam. It is then up to Sonic to explore the Starfall Islands, find his lost friends, and uncover the mysteries around him. And this sounds like one of the coolest Sonic stories since Sonic Adventure 2. We know there were cutscenes in the demo shown, so we'll likely get more about that very soon as well. I'm glad there's a good story reason for the cyberspace levels, and it's not like, hey, here's some old zones, just please leave us alone, guys. We'll give you what you want. We finally see a glimpse of the ghost girl Sage, and got a low-res render of her as well. Wow. A lot of people speculated the purple-haired girl was the ghost girl, and I've always been hesitant on that type of speculation because it's fun and all, but I think speculating on things without any evidence or matching connections just sets yourself up for disappointment, especially since it's not based on anything, and your mind is just roaming wild with creativity. But now we see the ghost girl alongside this massive titan, and he's huge. He's a big boy. So we don't know if she starts out as assisting Sonic or is an antagonist. A lot of people are saying the antagonist, but I hope there's more mystery to it than that. I assume there is, but we already know she's going to become good. I mean, it's in the leak. I mean, the leak's now 7 times proved right. Duh. And from that, we know that she talks and refills earrings during at least one of the Titan boss fights, maybe the last one. But everything other than that is just a mystery. Mystery. What is very clear now is that everything we've been seeing is just from the first island, Kronos. And we knew the island was Kronos from the data mine after the first gameplay trailer, but to get confirmation that this is all only from the very first one is extremely satisfying. It means maybe Sonic Team actually is doing a good job with the marketing and not showing us too much. This will probably be one of the last times we ever reference the leaks until, of course, we get a glimpse of what looks like a tree titan, because now every single thing in them has been confirmed and it's entirely caught up with the announced info, which is really exciting because now that we've seen the ghost girl, everything we see from here on out will be a mystery and I have no clue what to expect. Now, a huge new piece of info is that Frontiers will have 2 separate gameplay modes. Now, before I go into it, I have to clarify. I'm not referring to the open world and the cyberspace levels here, but rather there are 2 entirely different playstyles, likely implemented as the 2 groups of modern Sonic fans want very different games. This info comes from SEGA PR. Stop it, it's not Puerto Rico. And I'm using Tails Channel's coverage of it because, let's be real, the graphic looks really pretty. Quote, when you first start the game, you can choose between 2 player control styles, action style and high speed style. Action style helps with more accurate platforming, great for players new to Sonic games, and high-speed style offers more speed, which is great for players used to Sonic titles. And this already sounds like a massive dub, because this seems to satisfy the arguments I'm hearing on both sides of
Sonic's too slow.
and
This is just more boost gameplay.
yeah, buckos, it was neither. So the people who want the more focused combat and precise tactileness have their game style, and the don't think, just go fast crowd gets a dub too. We are really uniting the Sonic community here, folks. Now, this isn't an accessibility mode for difficulty, but rather two entirely different ways to play. However, they do have that as well in the form of the auto mode. Basically, if memorizing combos and being the world's greatest fighter doesn't sound too interesting, you can turn on baby mode, where you hit a single button to perform various attack combos, and you can do that. But just know, I will be judging you, and I just want you to know that. We already knew about the upgrade system, and I believe it was Gameinformer as well, who said there are some really interesting unlockables that take very unique and varying interpretations on how Sonic can attack enemies. And they said even though they only got to play for a couple hours, they got some really cool ones and didn't want to spoil them, which sounds very intriguing. And honestly, good on them for not clout chasing and spoiling the element of a surprise. If a leak gets out, I think it's fair game for anyone to cover it, but if you can stop it from getting out, and it's not something important like core gameplay, and it's just a spoiler for late game unlockables, then by all means, keep that to yourself. Not all news is good news, but I will cover all news, so don't make it news. While I'm loving all this news lately, spoilers spoil things for people, and that's no good. I know, another video. I'm actually feeling a lot better. Thank you for the strong reception on the last one. Literally lots of love. Follow on Twitter at Sonic_show. I'ma be real. I be posting bangers and I want to get my followers up. That's it. Okay, I want more people to see my based tweets. Dude, I am so based. That's all for today. There's so much to talk about and I feel like I could keep going, but I also feel like I covered everything. And anything else is just rambling, right? You don't want me to ramble. So double check you're subbed. I put my heart and soul into this video to get it out quickly. Again, lots of love and peace. Peace!
It's a fresh up, what he wanna smash up. I like crash up, I just come with flash up. Mama don't like that.